Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about what you think Michael J. Gross is getting in actual views. He's really not. I'm not going to be playing the fireplace goat, but somebody else can step up and play the creepy uh, extramarital scopes, private scopes, which is just becoming a norm. All these people are creepy people with no morals at all. I mean, look at Bill Mitchell, Ant Vandersteel, Tracy Beans, Pragmatic, David Hayes. Certainly, Michael J. Gross is one of the worst ones, and we've let him go. I mean, I think that's by omission. My fault. That was a target that just kind of went like a fart in the wind, which technically I think he would qualify as human flatulence. But you know, this guy is he's trying to adopt some Q. What is it? I don't even know what it is. Like a Q indictment scenario now. He's shilling indictment gear. He's shilling indictment gear. Man, nah, really. Let me tell you who Michael Jonathan Gross is. Michael Jonathan Gross, otherwise known as Mike the Best Closer, is a scam artist. Michael J. Gross has a record in California. He has a record in Indiana. He has a record in Ohio. And he has a record in Maryland. We are talking shitloads of money, tax liens, foreclosures, check fraud, bank fraud. If he had worked for the Trump campaign, he'd be right there in Paul Manafortville. This guy's outrageous, outrageous huckster, a cheater, a liar. If you remember last year, he said he had to leave Periscope and Twitter for a while, and he was going to run a campaign down in Florida. Well, go back and look and see how that turned out. The candidate himself came out and said that that was one of the worst mistakes he's ever made, and this guy is a total scam artist. So, you think I'm just going to lay down? I know I don't normally get up and punch a gnat in the face, but some days I feel like punching a gnat in the face. Michael J. Gross, aka Mike, the best closer. Really? Dude. Not only are you half, perhaps even less the size of Tony Robbins, you are not a fucking motivational speaker or a life coach. The Michael Jordan jersey that you have hanging up there would barely fit you. It is not authentic. You're a liar. Let's go over your tax records, man. Why do all these people have the same problems? Why do they all have the same problems? Why does Michael J. Gross, aka the best closer, why does David Joseph Hayes, aka Praying Medic, why does Tracy Diaz, aka Tracy Beans, um, Coleman Rogers, aka Pamphlet Anon, why are they all suffering through foreclosures and tax liens? Why, Bill Mitchell, do you have about $200,000 in tax liens? Why? Why, Ann Vandersteel, can you not pay your own garbage taxes in Florida? I don't get it. Why are you all the same way? Cindy, thank you again. Cindy, you were the only one. Cindy, you were the only one. Congratulations, Cindy, which made it an extra special day for me. You were the only one, Cindy. I'm telling you, Cindy, you were the only one. This is like the first time for me in a long time that I got away with this shit because I don't talk about it at all. But Cindy, as you might see her as Sweet Treat, yeah, you were the only one, girl. You were the only one. The only one. Here's to you, Cindy. Long time, early fan. And I am a fan of yours. So people are trying to figure out what we're talking about in our secret language, but don't worry about it. Oh no! See, you're gonna ruin it if you say things like that. Yeah, Cindy, you done gone and ruined it. Don't open up. Don't up the floodgates now. It's over. It's March 19th now. March 19th is my daughter's birthday. And yep, the cat flew right out of the bag, Jimmy. But funny little story here before we excoriate, Michael J. Gross for being such a fucking loser. I was running a special campaign, a special election campaign, back in, well, I guess it would be 2014. And our baby, my second, was due on March 18th. And my wife was insistent. No. My wife was completely insistent, because my first daughter was a true Frank breech. So we had, no option but to have a C-section. So I wasn't thrilled to go with any VBAC scenario. So I wanted the C-section again. And my wife agreed. And she was like, okay, well, they're suggesting 17th or 18th. And I'm like, hey, ho, no, not the 17th. And I said, do the 18th. And that turned out to be the day of the special election that I was running. I was the campaign manager for a special election in the PA State Senate. And my wife was like, no. She said, first off, that was her former boss that I was running the campaign for. And she said, no, you're not going to do anything that's going to, cramp your style on the election. And she also said, I don't want our child to have the same birth date. So that's why my youngest is going to be turning 5 tomorrow. My youngest is turning 5 tomorrow. And that's why I will not sleep tonight, because I want to be there to wake her up tomorrow morning. I say that in 2 hours. In 2 hours, I'm going to wake up my youngest, and she's going to be 5 years old, and she's really excited about it, and so am I. So it's going to be fun, but it would be unfair. I don't like ever talking about my birthday. I don't like it at all. I won't talk about it. Don't celebrate it. Went out for a couple of beers with some really, really close friends of mine, only 2 or 3 of them. But Cindy was the only one who remembered from the year before this and the year before that. And Cindy, as you may see her up here, sweet tweet. She was in Florida then, but is now up in Connecticut taking care of her mom. Just a wonderful woman. Sends me notes when things are down, things are cluttered. So thank you. Thank you. All of you, really. Thank you. Thank you, B. But a special toss out to Cindy and everybody who's not a huckster, a shuckster, a shyster, a loser, a grifter. God, I love you all. I love you all for fighting back. I love it. I love Cindy for being awake at this ungodly hour. She's pretty much on my time zone. Yes, it was an uncelebrated birthday, which is it's my goal. Sybil, I'm telling you, it's my goal to get away with this shit. I don't want to talk about it. I don't like it. I'm into my 40s now. Not something I want to talk about. But I got a couple of messages tonight, and I thought I really can't Indeed, it is just slightly overrated. The nerve of somebody, the nerve of somebody to just attack what we do, and they will sell indictment T-shirts. Indictment T-shirts. Thanks, Jade. Appreciate it. I appreciate all the happy birthdays. Not why I'm on, really. It's just I'm on the day after, so we don't have to deal with that stuff. But we could say happy birthday to my youngest daughter. She'll be 5 years old. Feisty's even away. I mean, Feisty, it's 2:47, I think, her time. So I feel like I need to say something substantive at this point to justify being on. I'm just getting really progressively irritated with all of this stuff. Selling T-shirts about indictments. Wow, I got to tell you, it's beyond the pale. Yeah. Well, Jimmy, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, Jimmy, because he's either buying a shit ton of views through the .ru networks that Mitchell and Dilly use. But yeah, listen, we're not going to do that, and it's not as if Hillary Clinton and Andrew McCabe and Comey and all these guys, they of course they deserve some level of scrutiny to the point of prosecution, but it's not going to happen. It's really not going to happen, and it's particularly not going to happen when William Barr is in charge of the operation. And Q has become increasingly ridiculous. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. We've got this fruitcake in Jersey who drove to New York to kill a mob boss, wrote some weird shit on his hand. That's on the heels of what we know happened with the H-hand shit in the New Zealand shootings. I mean, what do we do? When do we step up? And I think the biggest, I'm not going to say hurdle, but I think the biggest, I'm trying to find a better word than hurdle, but hurdle might be the word. To a lot of people expressing themselves against what's going on. And I think that's the real problem. I know that there are people, myself, I have a strong opinion. I know Doug has a strong opinion. I know Glenn has a strong opinion. Ginger might be the strongest opinion. JB is out there doing his thing. And we have people in our own communities that push back really hard. Leah, Fightsy. I mean, we have a lot of people that just push back on really bad narratives that don't count. But there's also a lot of people that just don't want to. Yeah, Smooch. Yeah, Smooch. You're very quiet. But there's also a lot of people that just don't want to get involved in this. I don't know how to reconcile getting people involved and getting people uncomfortable. I'm still working on that. I'm still with. There are those of us who are a little bit confrontational, and then there are those of us who just like don't want to do it. They don't want to do it at all. They don't want to be confrontational on Twitter, and I get it. I really do. I get it. I have a growing sympathy towards the people that don't want to engage because you get blocked, you get reported, you get ostracized, you get called a shill, a paid shill. What are you afraid of? And yeah, Deborah, I get it. I think you do that. Not only you, but many people that I see. Just TJ, watching TJ, Smooch, Athene. I don't want to forget anybody, but watching everybody go to work like that, like with Leah and Cindy, it's pretty impressive to watch. You're willing to take it on the chin to argue with some of these people, but they don't argue. They don't argue. What they say, what you say, is based on some kind of factual precept, and what their response is has nothing to do with fact. Their response to you is, "What are you afraid of? Why are you deflecting? Why are you bifurcating MAGA? Why are you dividing MAGA? We're not dividing." Yeah, that's another famous one is like, oh, research. Do your own research. Yeah. You don't think we do our own research? We do. We've been doing research for. Listen, we were here before you. We were here before you. You can't plant a flag on any of this shit because we were here fighting these battles on Twitter, on Periscope, well before October 28th, 2017, or whenever the fuck it is that Q first shot some kind of notice out. So how do we do it? I think we're in focus group. I'm sorry. I think we're in focus group mode. Figure out how to do it. You don't need the constitutionality. Yeah, they don't need to research that. No, hell no. You can't love the United States Constitution and espouse or in some way endear yourself to Q. You can't. They don't exist. They can't exist. They can't exist. You can't. Well, true, true. Nunya's got a good point. It's like going in and arguing with Big Chief while Jack Nicholson laughed his ass off in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, there may be an element of insanity here involved. Definitely. I'm looking for a way to figure out how to do this. It is textbook call, but it's not shrinking. It's not shrinking. I did not watch all of DeFango's drive from, I'm going to say, Nevada to Arizona. I didn't watch it all. I should. But we're all coming from the same angle at the problem. We all realize that the answer is not right, but we're all coming from different, well, maybe we're not coming from the same angles, but we all know the problem's incorrect, but a lot of us are coming at it from different angles. That's kind of what I should say. It's been tough. It's been tough to watch good people that I've seen in our group for 2 years get picked off, and I think that's like the weak herd philosophy. I think that's what's going on. Yeah, definitely, Cindy. You're gonna get blocked a lot, but I think most of us have thicker skin than that. We really don't worry about that too much. Mario's here. He's been around a long time. But so I'm kind of curious to what people think. I think I'm running like a de facto focus group here. So Doug is awake because Doug did not sleep. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of tough to do to replace the traffic, but it's possible. But I don't want to replace it with anything that's not legitimate. And my problem is, as most of you who followed me for a long time, is legitimate reflection upon whatever's going on is boring. It's boring. It's boring as hell. But that doesn't mean it's not right, and it usually is right. I mean, if you're sitting out in the Kalahari and you see hoof prints and you're looking for a zebra, you're not a great hunter, and I think that's where we're at right now. We've got a lot of people that are just ignoring Occam's razor, and it's becoming something very simplistic and offensive intellectually, anyway. So we need to decide whether or not we're going to be retaliating in a really fantastical sense, or we're just going to do it in a really low key way. It's really hard to do. Infiltrated, easier said than done, but I think it is being done. But like any cult, it doesn't really work unless you have a lot of numbers. It doesn't really work unless you can really, really get pervasive with it. So, but I am interested in learning every idea I possibly can from people. I mean, the no, the Flynn family, like, that's a great question. The Flynn family is not falling for the Q live. They're not. And Junior has hit it and hit it hard a few times. I believe that the questions that mostly come out of this is Joe, the brother Joe. I'm not really sure why. I just think they get enamored with the fact that it's very pro Flynn, and they figure why not? It might be an opportunity to bring more money into the defense funds, which I don't begrudge him that. But his son is not a Q guy. It looks that way, Ginger. It looks that way. But I know Mike Jr. Not as well as Jack, but he certainly has been a guest at a couple of my events, and I've never heard him speak. He knows my feelings on Q. I've never heard him speak in an affirmative fashion on Q. So don't try to spread that on Mike Flynn Jr. Just don't do it. Because if that was the case, then Mike Flynn Jr. and Jack Posobiec are pretty close. Jack wouldn't go after Q that way if Mike Jr. said to leave Q alone. I mean, Q is bullshit. I don't know how else to say it. Q is bullshit, people. Complete bullshit. There's not a single component that I can point to. And Michael J. Gross, otherwise known as Mike, the best closer, is perhaps one of the biggest scam artists that has graced Periscope since its inception. I mean, this guy is a check fraud, bank fraud, honest to God con artist with a record in 4 different states. And the worst mistake he ever made was to mention my name because now I'm going to mention yours. Sorry, Mikey. I'm coming for you. This is just the first of it. I'll talk to Glenn tomorrow about what else I want to do about it. It's a hard knock life. Doug Closer's been on this trail for a while. Looking to build his audience through the Q thing. It's pretty pathetic. That's right, Cindy. It's exactly what he does. Deborah, I'm not sure. I think you have to ask Smooch. I think Smooch is the one that lit the Roman candle under my ass. So if you want to blame somebody, you're going to have to blame Smooch. I think that's what it was. But yeah, he's definitely made comments about myself, Glenn, and others who don't conduct business the way this guy does. This is unseemly shit. I won't tolerate it anymore. I won't tolerate it. If I know there's people out there that aren't sleeping because they're ripping into this and monitoring it at best, or I can't sleep either. It's frustrating. We should all be on the same team, but I want to have a moment of, let's see, I don't know what word I should use. I want to have a moment with you of bare honesty tonight. I want to have a moment where, the shield and the mask slip off a little bit, where I admit a vulnerability. I want to have that moment when I say that Donald Trump's Twitter account yesterday, the aggregate 47 retweets or whatever, is inherently disturbing to me. I'm disturbed by it. I'm not jumping off any Trump trains. Matter of fact, I don't really think a train is a good euphemism anymore. But what I didn't like was the content. You know what? I told this to my buddy tonight. High-ranking staffer at the Pennsylvania level, leadership staff. But we've been friends for a long time, and we always go back and forth with the Trump banter. And we were talking about some of the tweets that came out on Sunday, and to him, it's kind of weird because you would never see anything like that on the state level. To me, I pointed to the fact that this is just an expression of frustration where he's not researching every tweet that person made prior to a retweet. So most people would think the president of the United States would take the time or have a staff member, Dan Scavino, whitewash, go through the whole goddamn profile before you retweet. That doesn't happen. So we had what apparently was like one of these Q-tard accounts retweeted by the president. And I told my friend, and he said, yeah, he had no idea what Q is. I mean, this guy's at leadership level at Pennsylvania. So you're talking, he's running all the legislation out of one chamber in Pennsylvania, which is top 5 in the entire country. He looks at me and says, I don't know what the hell QAnon is. He doesn't know what QAnon is. Most people don't know what the hell QAnon is. So I tried to explain a little bit to him about it. But the final point that we came to on it is when you're the president of the United States and you retweet, when you're the president of the United States, you retweet somebody, it's what they tell you when you're in high school and college. If you have a sexual partner and you don't use protection, you are sleeping with every person that they did. Whether you know who that was or not, that's the way it is when you retweet when you're the president of the United States of America. So the president doesn't seem to get his mind around the fact that when he retweets a regular account that he doesn't really know about, he's retweeting everything that they ever retweeted. Dangerous. It's dangerous. Doesn't work. It's not good. It's not good. And thank you. I appreciate it. Because my buddy said the same thing. He said the same thing. He looked at me. He's like, I never thought about it that way. He said, you're absolutely right. And that's the way the media looks at it. The media looks at it, okay, you retweeted this person, we're going to go through their entire account. And he knows that. And I'm not talking about the Posobiec retweets, although I would always question a Posobiec retweet by the president for reasons that I'm not going to expound upon, but I would be horrified if the president retweeted anything that I ever put out there. I would be horrified, not for myself, but for the president. You see, these people who are this self-aggrandizing, pathetic I don't even know what you want to call them, self-promotional. I mean, it sounds like a WWE terminology. That's how they get to where they are. They become these self-promotional people. It gets ridiculous. I will never be like that. I don't care. I don't want the president to retweet me. It would be embarrassing. Where do these people come from? Why do they feel the need to try to express some tethered relationship to the president. You're not. I mean, it's not true. I mean, the president really only cares about the people that have his blood running through their veins. Everybody else is expendable. So I'm really annoyed about all this shit. You can say all that and do all that, but when you're this Michael Jonathan Gross, I think born in '69. Go ahead and Google him. Google him. You'll find all these records. Check fraud everywhere. Foreclosure. Tax liens. I mean, this guy's a scam artist. Scam artist. Calls himself a motivational speaker and has the nerve to take a swing at me. Hell, I'll debate you anytime there, Tiny. I'll debate you anytime. I will come to Maryland and I will debate you. I will debate you in a studio. I will debate you in a ring, fitted with nice, soft, comfy gloves so that I can't actually beat out whatever's left of the brains that you consist. You're pathetic. You bring nothing. You bring nothing to the debate with the Democrats. It's embarrassing. Cernovich has gone off the fucking rails. Jack's barely on the rails. Will Chamberpot is off the rails. Ali, I don't even know what the hell this guy's doing anymore. What's going on? Like, Jacob Wall, Laura Loomer, does it really seem like it's about Trump anymore? Ask yourself. Ask yourself, does it really seem like it's about Trump? Hey, that's a very low bar. They're doing more than Glenn Beck and Ben Shapiro. I grant you that. I grant you that. But they're embarrassing. They're all embarrassing. They're all embarrassing. And they all get pissed off if Trump doesn't in some way validate them. You don't understand Trump. So they look at it like a retweet as validation. See, retweets are free. They're free. Retweets are free to the president. Donald Trump historically doesn't give up a lot. He's not going to bring you into the fold. He's not going to enrich you. He's not going to make you a superstar. He has plenty of people that'll do it for free. You need to just get the fuck out of the way. Whose analysis? I get this a lot. Whose analysis do I respect? Okay, analysis, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that I respect. Analysis that I know is true, there's a lot. If you're looking at Twitter personalities, then you're looking at some unique stuff, I guess. You're looking at Paul Sperry, Nick Short. You're looking at Arthur Schwartz. You're looking at Richard Barris. Yeah, those are the guys. Charles Payne, absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm a huge, obviously everybody knows, I'm a huge fan of Charles Payne. I'm hesitant, frankly, to name anybody that I don't communicate with because I don't really know where they're coming from. And I've enjoyed getting to know a lot of really good personalities and DMing and even in some cases texting back and forth. So, yeah, Cerno is a lost cause. We might be able to use him again in 2020 for something. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out. So, retweet to some mean work by Yeah, I think a lot of people overread a retweet, and the worst thing. I don't mind Scott Adams at all. I really don't. I don't agree with him on everything, but I don't. I have no problem with Joe Pollock either. No problem with Joe Pollock. I think Scott Adams and I disagree on certain things, but he has a different way of looking at. He is a much more abstract. He's not a political person per se. I enjoy occasionally hearing clips of him, but I don't watch enough that it would pervade my thinking. Doesn't work. So I am technically an adult now because I am 44 as of today. So I don't pay much attention anymore to Scaramucci, although we do follow each other, and I'd love to hang out with him. I think we're gonna have dinner in New York at some point. I really do enjoy Scaramucci. Yeah, Jen, you know how I feel about the whole Gorkin Bandit thing. Yeah, Charlie Kirk, not bad. Like if you're comparing Charlie Kirk with Ben Shapiro, then I'm with you big time on Charlie. Well, Cindy, you will correct me when I'm wrong too, and I I have no problem with that. My oldest sister, one of my oldest sisters, told me the same thing. Civilian, that she said Quattro Quattro was the most transformative, successful year of my life, and I hope that it is for you as well. That was the text I got today from my sister, who's 3 years older than me, and one of the most successful business executives under 50 for females in the entire country. So, yeah, you're right, civilian. You nailed it. You got it. I kind of strive to have the success that my sister has accomplished in her career. Really, really a stunning intellect, and cut her teeth uh, closing out some very big corporations under Bain Capital after Mitt Romney left. So don't accuse her of being but I, you know, my my sister is a huge inspiration to me. Um, she's had meetings with Trump before. I think we talked about this case. Every now and then we talk about this, but she didn't love her private meetings with Trump at Trump Tower, but she had them, and as much as she told me it wasn't going to happen, and when it did, she backed off. And I think that she's going to vote for Trump. I don't want to speak for her, but I think due to the economic factors of the business that she's in, I think she's going to vote for Trump. So I know my brother is, my father, my mother, and my oldest sister and her husband definitely all in for Trump. All in for Trump. Everybody is doing very well on the economic front, and no complaints other than the fact that Trump makes some ad lib comments every now and then that our traditional Catholic family doesn't like. But hey, traditional Catholics can't be too picky anymore because we have Pope Francis and a boatload of rapes that come down every day. I have no comments about the Dems yet. I have no idea what's going to happen. No idea. What do you think of Devin? I think it's a pretty funny lawsuit. We'll see. 250 million against a shadow ban in Twitter. I think it's a test suit. It's a test suit, but the hell of a freaking canary in the mine. Leave it to Devin Nunes. Leave it to him. Closer is just a douchebag. He's a liar, and I never knew who he was. And he's been like stalking me since back in the day, and now he's decided to attack my corporation, and you know he doesn't want anybody to know that he's a criminal. Michael Jonathan Gross, um, is a criminal. And if you just Google it, you can find out for yourself and save me a lot of trouble. And you can see check fraud in multiple states, foreclosures, tax liens. This guy is a scam artist of the highest order. Terrible, terrible guy, awful guy. Undisclosed 815. Rooftops in Bermuda. Then you can't fool us, dude. I don't even know if Bermuda's 4 hours ahead. I don't know where you're at, but it's better than here. Iceland. There you go. That's right where it would be. Oh yeah, don't worry about that. That's a good point. They can't change they can't change the laws. The states that are trying to change into a popular vote thing, that doesn't work that way. They can't. They'll never get over the threshold, and they'll never get past 270 total electoral vote. You can't. Even if they did, you couldn't circumvent the Constitution on that. It's all bullshit. So all the Colorado governor signing shit, that's all talking points. Don't ever worry about that. That's why I'm here. I'm here for that. I'm here to tell you that that's never going to happen. It is the electoral college is going nowhere, and it will not ever go anywhere. So don't ever worry about it. Same thing with the state of Washington. First of all, they'll be struck down in court, right? But otherwise, did you plan on winning it? I think like Shireen and I had a joke earlier when she sent it to me. I was like, Shireen, did you plan on winning the state of Washington? Which, of course, she's like, no. So, no, we're not going. Don't worry about it. Plus, it's unconstitutional. Don't worry about it. I know what Washington said about the tax returns. It's not constitutional. Don't worry about it. It doesn't. Then we're not going to win that state anyway. So don't worry about it. Worry about the guy you got a guard in front of you. Don't worry about the guy on the other side of the court. Yeah. Yeah, and don't listen to Maxine Waters. Oh, that's a tough question. Pennsylvania is definitely toss-up territory. Um, for now, I'm here. I'm here to fight as hard as I possibly fucking fight for it. I think Dave Urban's coming back in. I think we'll have a strong team. So yeah, Barr's the real deal. Are you kidding me? Barr's he's a man. Yeah, Barr's Mike Ditka in 1985. You're not getting away with anything. You're not getting away with it. Not even like Jim McMahon with a fucking sweatband. You're not getting away with shit. Barr is just going to clean up his own house. He's not going to. Barr is not going to indict Hillary Clinton. Barr is not going to indict Jim Comey, Andrew McCabe. That's not what Barr does. Barr is not going to put up a second special counsel. Barr is just going to clean up internally. It's the way it is. Sorry, everything opposite of what Q thinks is going to happen. It's going to happen. Barr ain't no rookie. This ain't his first rodeo. Don't worry about him. He's squeezing shit down pretty tough right now. He already has it. JD already's got the crabby top. He's already got all of it. That's a great question. What indictments would be coming down? Let me ask you. Let me posit this to you. In this grand notion of boom boom tick tock, what indictments do you think would be coming down? Sean Hannity alludes to indictment, I guess. I don't know. What indictments do you think is coming or are coming? Nah, not an American citizen. You could indict him, but he won't come into the country and won't be extradited. Cindy might be right. Not a one. Yeah, he's calling for another special counsel. But here's the funny part: William Barr hates special counsels, and he'll never, ever, ever issue one. Never. McCabe's already pretty much out of the gate. Not really sure about Strzok. There's a potential Strzok could be indicted, but McCabe, from what I understand, has already gone through the process. So, yeah, unsealed. Listen, there's nothing sealed. There's nothing sealed. You got to name somebody you think, like Lisa Page, Baker, Priestap, Becky. Yeah. Okay. We see original sort of joke at me. No, there'll be no Brennan, no Clapper, no Power, no Lynch, no Rice. None of those people will be indicted. I promise you. Strzok could be indicted. It's potential. Yeah, Ray's not going anywhere. As much as I'd like him to. Yeah, I can't figure out a way, and maybe this is another question I should posit to you guys. Like, figure out a way that Q has helped us. Figure out or give me something where Q has actually helped the narrative for Trump. If you give me a good point, I'll accept it. So because we play by the rules and they don't. That's the answer to that question. How come they never get in trouble? It's just us. That's the way it's always been. It's the way it's always been. Nah, I don't think he's going to lose any of his base. I think Stone will be fine. Stone will run about a 4-month trial. It starts in November. Worst case scenario, he does 6 months in jail, and Trump commutes the sentence December 2020. Yeah, Stone's fine. Stone actually probably wants to do 6 months in jail because it'll completely reboot his career, and he'll get another Netflix series. Oh, Jade, absolutely. That is not a question. That is not a question. William Barr did not accept this job on a short-term basis. Did you see the lead singer who was talking about Brexit made me laugh? No. No, I didn't. No. Although Brexit is becoming laughable at this point. No, Papadopoulos has been saying that shit for months. For months, he keeps on hinting the same shit. We'll see it. I don't even know if Mifsud is still alive. If Mifsud is still alive, we're okay. Why don't we play dirty like that? Some cases we do, but not a lot. We definitely don't play as dirty as a Democrat. Don't let anybody tell you different. We don't. That's absolutely true, unless they extend the date in British Parliament. So you got to the end of the month. You got to the end of the month. The Brexit is George Soros's breakfast. If we don't get it done. Yeah, I mean, I think Barr's going to what? Oh, I'm told Barr will hang through. Barr will be the Attorney General till 2023 if we win re-election. So Barr doesn't fuck around. He's a pretty cold soldier. What's the expiration date on the EU? Over under 3 years? Oh God, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens with this whole thing with Brexit, but things are a little shaky. Things are a little shaky, not only in Germany but in France as well. So, oh yeah, Jen, totally. He's got that. Like I said, we may not like everything that he has chosen not to do, but we will like the things that he's chosen to do. I think Barr is a taskmaster and a disciplinarian. Serious. It's only the second time that we've had a repeat attorney general. Not bad. New York City Guns is awake at 4:30, and he is welcome to do one of these smiley faces, and I will bring him into the mix for a couple minutes here. When will we see anything about does? We feel like a win? Oh, that's a good question. It depends on what you think a win is. I think your first feeling about a William Barr win is going to be how he handles the executive report from the Mueller report. I think that's what we're going to feel. Five, four, three, two, one. Good morning, sir.
What's happening?
Surprised you are awake and endeavoring into this conversation.
I've been awake since like 2 o'clock in the morning. I've been watching The Blacklist, but I don't have any of these notifications on, so I don't know
Yeah,
when anyone's doing anything.
yeah.
But I did notice that Mike Gross, he's been saying the same. He's only capable of repeating the same thing over and over and over again. It's the same thing he was saying 2 years ago, which started my vendetta against him when he was talking about you, saying these are really bad people. They're not good people. They're just kind of people that are good. They're like that, and you bad people are bad, and we should not listen to bad people.
Yeah,
You know?
a very kindergarten-esque type of taunts.
Well, he's the kind of guy in grade school that you would just keep punching his face at recess, just keep punching it even though he was down, you just couldn't stop because you'd look at his face and it just needed another punch.
Well, you and I, of course, as everyone listening knows, that the last thing that he hung up on me. But what I want to say is, we would never condone violence. We would never, ever, ever condone violence. Not only that, we would never condone violence in any instance at all, unless it was Michael J. Gross on the playground when we were younger. That's the only violence that we would condone. Or at least that's my official statement so that I can keep my Periscope account.
I think he's just a little faggot, this guy. I always have. And when we did our little research on him, he's a criminal.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I don't even see why we even care about him. He's got like some kind of he does his broadcasts at a time of day where his Russian bots uh, can be had for cheap. Right? It's the same reason Dilly is doing his shit at noon. If you've ever worked with people foreign time zones, especially Southeast Asia,
Yeah.
that window of opportunity to have your meetings, it's like, the sweet spot is where everyone else is asleep. Like I used to do a lot of my calls at 10 at night or at like 4 or 5 in the morning. Close of business or open of business over there. And you'll notice all these fake assholes, they're on that same time frame because it costs like double to have the fake bots working your shit
Yeah.
during our business hours. So you go to their business hours and you get the discount.
Well, I think the reason that I think Smooch is the one that set me off. I didn't even know he was on anymore, but there were a few of these screenshots and other things that found their way into various DM rooms, and I was like, is this guy still talking shit? And and then like you said, it's clearly a bot farm there. I mean, there's no way this piece of shit was doing what, a 4 a.m. broadcast and pulling in maybe like 2,000 people, and now he's claiming 4 or 5 times that. That's not just turning into a Q-tard, which he has. That's there's something more sinister behind all that.
Yeah, I know. In the universe where Cerno is able to do like maybe 2 or 300 in the room and possibly 7 to 10,000 views. You look at Dilly. Well, see, Dilly,
Wait. I
I'm
don't
not
want
going to
to. I
lump
don't want to
Dilly in
look
with
at
this guy.
Dilly.
Yeah.
But if you're saying think about it, I could think about Dilly.
Dilly, the thing is, he's sufficiently clownish that he may actually have attracted an actual audience of people. I could see it. I could definitely see it. Like all those women who are putting the parentheses around the housewives, who don't
No,
even know what it
I,
means.
I I
He's
refuse in some ways to think that Dilly has a legitimate argument.
Anyway, Mike the Closer, if you watch his show, it is actually unwatchable. It's like his whole consciousness, it's like it's been suppressed with ADHD medication for like decades.
Hmm.
There's nothing there. It's like looking into an empty glass. There's really, it's not enough. I mean, if he's trying to claim that 10,000 people are watching him or 5,000 people are watching him, I mean, think about what that is. I mean, you're someone who actually is entertaining and intelligent, like Scott Adams, is doing about 2,000 people in the room.
Yeah.
And that's legitimate. So
Yeah.
it's one of these things. It's like, how do I not get fooled? How is it that since my 30s, I'm not fooled anymore by anyone? I'll tell you how. Because I've been asking myself the same question for about 30 fucking years. And the question is this: is it more likely that it's this way, or is it more likely that it's that way? And so let's apply that to this situation. Is it more likely that Mike Gross, the closer, is as entertaining and engaging as Scott Adams, or is it more likely that he's faking his ratings?
Well, that's the same as asking is the phrase in the scientific community, is it Occam's razor or is it Occam's butter knife?
Yeah, it's ironic because Scott Adams hates the Occam's razor argument.
Of course he does.
It's one of his idiosyncrasies. But I think that's what makes him somewhat entertaining. He has idiosyncrasies, he's intelligent.
Well, let me ask you
Yeah.
this. I've heard enough of Scott Adams to know that most of his arguments are predicated on the reality of the basis of Occam's razor. but he does it on a percentage basis. So he tends to, dilute the precept by saying he's willing to engage in percentages as opposed to absolutes. So, I mean, listen, I like the guy. I think he's fine on most issues, but intellectually, he's not he's kind of playing single A ball.
I don't think he's an intellectual. He never pretends to be an intellectual. I would say he's more like a Houdini-esque figure who's mastered certain techniques of persuasion and manipulation. To somebody who just knows nothing, might seem like he's really smart, like he's part
True.
of some intellectual world. But I've never heard Scott Adams talk credibly about philosophy or science or art.
Well, unless
You
you
know,
listen to his enraptured love affair with undercutting the arguments about climate science and shit like that.
but
That's
that's
where it starts to
but
split.
that's not really academic. What I've been hearing from him, which I found amusing, and this is why I like him, is he's running a con. Essentially, intellectually speaking, he's running a con.
Mhm.
Always. Every time I listen to him, I'm trying to figure out more what he's trying to convince me of rather than taking him seriously like he actually believes any of this stuff. I
Well, he's
like his
running a
show.
long con, dude.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, this medical care app. I mean, he's building up an audience in order to achieve a production quality and or more or less a feeding base of people who are willing to. I don't have any problems with him per se. It's capitalistic, so I don't have a problem. But he's definitely trying to build up a customer database when it comes to his ideas, which include the doctors on by app or whatever the hell it is. I mean, nobody's doing anything, I guess, for free, which has
No,
gotten
but
everybody a little bit out of their lane.
the thing is, though, that actually Scott Adams in the 80s and 90s was a technology small businessman. This isn't the first technology company he's tried his hand at. I mean, there's a lot of guys that I remember from the 80s who got into technology, like Thomas Dolby, who blinded me with she blinded me with science, the electronic music artist who had that novelty song. He took
It's
all of his
a fucking
money,
awful
left
song,
me.
by the way.
Well, actually, I liked Thomas Dolby in the 80s. I saw him live later, like 10 years ago. I got a chance to see him live, and
Was that song featured in the Val Kilmer movie Real Genius, or is
I
that
don't.
another one?
I never saw Real Genius, believe it or not.
Okay.
A lot of people, by the time Real Genius came out, I was kind of too old for that movie. I barely was able to. I don't. I think the only reason I saw 16 Candles is because it was on cable, which is kind of sad. I kind of missed that one too. But apparently that's like the most classic movie of the 80s. But to me, the most classic movie of the 80s was probably Terminator.
Yeah, but you caught Weird Science though.
No, man, I got weird science. Like if I had been younger, like if I was in middle school, that would be the guys who went to see Weird Science were in seventh and eighth grade. If you were
Yeah,
going
but
to see Weird
I thought
Science,
Weird Science was like 85, right?
yeah, by 85, I was ready to go to college, man. I wasn't gonna go see
You're
Weird
right.
Science. Dude, if Weird Science and The Breakfast Club and all that shit had come out in like 1980, even 81, I probably would have went to see it. But by the time that crap was coming out, I was either about to go to college or, completely absorbed in going to college, getting into a college. I
So
wasn't thinking
what you're
about it.
saying is that Michael Anthony Hall movies at that time just did not fit into your schedule.
No, they were on cable, and I thought they were good. I remember seeing most of them on cable TV, like on HBO, the year after they were out, because that was like the clock back then. you had to wait a year. Unless it was a Star Wars movie, then you had to wait like 5 years. So I think it was like the first
Well,
time Star Wars ever was on TV. It was in the movie theater in '77,
yeah.
and then I think the first time it was on cable was like it had to be in the '80s, like '82 or '83. And I think the first time that it ever made it on television, the network premiere was like in the mid '80s.
No, yeah, you're right. I mean, I didn't get cable until '82 in our house, and we didn't see Star Wars on cable. The original played right about the same time that we got to see um, Revenge. I think it wasn't Return of the
Revenge,
Jedi, but it was not Revenge.
one of the first bad ones. You mean that?
No, it's the third one with the Ewoks all over it.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was right, right.
Yeah, this
But
I don't want to turn this into a Pacific scope. Okay, I don't
Empire
want to talk
Strikes
about fucking
Back.
Star Wars. I just don't want to fucking do it.
Well, I mean, I liked Star Wars when it came out because I was like, 12 years old or 11 years old. That it was perfect. Everything was timed perfectly. But by the time the third one came out, I was already kind of like looking at it, going, yeah, it's. You could feel it. You could feel it sort of fading. Um, and then they made those three terrible ones in the
Yeah,
'90s. It's
yeah,
just
it went Return of the Jedi and a third one, right? It was Empire Strikes Back after Star Wars. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right. And so now it's like I'm in my 50s, and they've made, I don't know, one or two of these Star Wars movies with the original cast. I
Yeah.
haven't even seen them. To go from like 1982, where I stood outside in the cold with a friend of mine to see Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan, add like 35 years to it, and I can't even be bothered to remember to go see these new Star Wars movies. I think if
No,
you
no,
lose,
yeah.
you lose someone like me, your franchise is in trouble, right?
No, it's almost like losing a centimeter of your prostate at a time to George Lucas's fingernail. I mean, how often can he dig up your ass decade after decade? I'm just not into it. Sorry.
Then they remade the Star Trek franchise, and it's like I think I saw the first one on cable, of course, and I thought, it could be worse, which is, at this point, a high praise moment. If it could be worse, then it's amazing. Then the second one came out, and I waited like 2 years to be bothered to go check it out.
Mhm.
On like pay-per-view or whatever. I think I may have seen it in Airplane, and I thought it was just wretched. And this is from a guy who liked the first Star Trek, the motion picture. So if I think the second one is wretched, can you imagine how terrible it must really be to someone who's not like into Star Trek, right? But I mean, all this is why to me, Mike the Closer is like all of these things. He's like the three Star Wars movies they made in the '90s. He's like the reboots of Star Trek. He's just like this bad, really boring type of thing. He can't even attack us properly. He got into cahoots with the wrong people 2 years ago. Their side lost. And now he's desperately trying to live off the embers of the Q movement. And
Yeah.
it looks to me, I'm going to change my opinion. Remember, I've been saying that I don't think there's any way that they're going to ever get, these bakers and the candlestick makers and all that.
Yeah.
I think that now I'm gonna say I was wrong. I was wrong because what's been going on now, this massacre in New Zealand, increased scrutiny of 8chan, and a lot of these bad actors tripling and quadrupling down on stupidity, the way that they're publicly making statements, like that Joe M guy.
Yeah.
That guy might single handedly be responsible this time next year when we look back on the next 12 months, he may be single-handedly responsible for bringing the full heat of the federal government down on this Q bullshit. And I could be completely off base here, but I feel at some weird like level, some genetic level, I'm feeling that the White House is going to be forced to denounce this bullshit very soon.
It's moving that way. I mean, there's no way it's not, you know, paddling its way with the current at this point. But let's hang in there and see how it's doing. I myself look at somebody who is this is where I need to be careful with my fucking words, but I don't like people who target the president with crazy maniacal theories, but at the same time, I dislike even more, and I get more furious over people who take pot shots against us. And I know why they're doing it. It's because we've gone against the grain. Q is not real. Q is kind of stupid. It's antithetical. It's illogical. It's unconstitutional. And I think there's some people out there just like trying to stick it to the flanks as far as we're concerned. So I would love to ignore these people. I would love to ignore these people, but I don't know that we can. And if we don't clean up the shitty messes on the floor, it's going to be really hard to get a firm footing in 2020 for the president.
It's going to be pretty simple, I think. I mean, there are a lot of broken, defective people that they've collected. And I think there's too many bleeding hearts who are trying to convert them into non-broken people. There's that liberal woman with the Shringo, whatever the fuck her account is. She called into the Fango show once, and she's clearly somewhat of a moron. She's one of these bleeding heart lefties she is anti-cult to the point where she's herself in a cult. Right? And so I listen to this kind of nonsense, like, we've got to save them. No, we don't have to save them. We don't have to save them at all. Our job is simply to separate anything salvageable from their movement and let the rest go fuck themselves. Because if it's not this bullshit thing, they're going to find another bullshit thing to do self-immolation. It's who they are. But they deserve to be separated from normal people and from mainstream political movements. I don't have any illusions that we can get rid of neo-Nazism or communism or any kind of fascism or totalitarianism. But I think our job is to make it unacceptable to believe those things and be accepted in the mainstream of right-wing politics. This is what William F. Buckley and Ronald Reagan cooked up back in the 1950s and 60s. Not that they could eradicate, Jew hatred, black hatred from right-wing politics, but they would make it unacceptable to be that and actually have a career in right-wing politics. So they basically made all these people go off into their little compounds. And if they tried to rear their ugly heads, you saw what happened to David Duke, right? Maybe you didn't. I did. It was during my college years. David Duke sort of appeared out of nowhere, and he'd had a facelift or two, and he was trying to hide his Ku Klux Klan bullshit, and it didn't work. There wasn't one Republican, not one Republican that wanted anything to do with him. In fact, they threw everything they had to crush him, to smash him. I don't think that anything is new under the sun. It's just we have to have the balls to do what the other generation before us did. It's, if your father had to get rid of the termites in the house so that you could live in the house and grow up, now it's your turn. Now you have children. You have to get rid of the termites. And then hopefully in 20 or 30 years, your children will have the balls to go kill those termites. Otherwise, the house will fall down and they're going to die of exposure. We can't save everyone, but we can exile these bastards, make them live underground, and let them know they're not part of anything real. You know, they can believe that JFK Jr. is masturbating Mike the Closer as much as they want. But we can't save them. I'm not some fucking leftist moron who has a big hole in my life that I need to fill with some feel-good bullshit that I can save humanity. It's bullshit. I have fought against these morons my whole life. But we need to separate. There are some decent people who don't know what the fuck is going on. Separate them out, save them. Won't take much.
Well,
the majority of them are scum. Let them go down with the sinking ship. You know, and if we have to lob a few more some more grenades in there to help the ship go down sooner, sign me up. Let's do it. Mike the Closer doesn't believe in anything.
No, and I won't accept that.
He's just a criminal.
Yeah, I will never accept that into the fold, by the way. That's one of those things that I will never accept. You know, I've known enough. This is not representative of anything we want to be a part of, including what anybody associated with the president at all. And I think that way about Bill Mitchell too. These are all lecherous vehicles that can only result in bad things. But to your larger point, I don't know how much we're going to be able to recover from these fringe elements. I do know that we could probably get them to vote. That's all we really need. And then when you get that second, if we are fortunate enough to get the second term with this strange coalition that we had last time coming together again, maybe we can finally start disassociating from some of these people. But I think the fear that Trump himself has with these comments, where he seems to be unable or unwilling to discount or radicalize, white supremacy or white nationalists. I just think it's a low-hanging piece of fruit that you just knock out of the park if you're an everyday normal politician. So I'm not going to go on record saying that Trump is explicitly wrong again, although I think his Charlottesville comments were way too soft. I think these comments were a little bit kind of meandering in between. But he seems to really be reticent to, do what needs to be done, at least to appease the media cycle. And that shows a level of stubbornness that's going to be very dangerous, considering we don't know what's coming between now and next year.
Well, he's going to play it his way. We may not like it. Usually around this time, if you have a typical Republican candidate in there, his popularity would be somewhere in 41, 42, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And he'd be apologizing for every fucking thing. And if we were lucky, when re-elect came around, we'd squeak one out, And that was 10 years ago?
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. No matter who they put up, I don't care if it's O'Rourke, Harris, Booker, Biden, Sanders. This is going to be within 2 points.
Well, 2 points would be good. I'm saying that, we'd win by half a point.
No, I'm saying it's going to be within 2 points. I'm not telling you who's going to be the victor. I'm telling you we're in a dogfight, a real dogfight with the independents. Right now, Glenn, right now, Bernie fucking Sanders is 3 points ahead in Wisconsin against Trump. Now, that might not worry you because you got to think like Wisconsin says, whatever. They've gone through their anti union stances or whatever, but allow that to spill over into a little bit of the Rust Belt elements going through Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania. I mean, if you could give me a choice, I would take Sanders. But even then, we could not rest on our laurels, man. It's going to be a fight. But I like fighting.
Well, there's no other alternative, right?
You and I know what we need more than anything else. And we need 4 more years of federal judge appointments. They will last 30 years. It's a fucking complicated game. The way we have things set up with the division, separation of powers. Very complicated, but I think we might be able to pull it out. Trump will win bigger than Reagan.
But Reagan won California and New York in '84.
Not well, even he got close in '88 in one of the two, but we're talking
'88, he left office in '88.
we're
That
talking
was
about
Ronald Reagan. In order to win, like this comment said, in order to win like Ronald Reagan did in 1984, he would
yeah,
have to win New York and California, which seems that's not going to happen.
yeah. I don't really respect anything before '88, and I believe HW in '88 was Reagan on the ballot, which a lot of us do. It's almost taken as academic, and he did well in the states, but he's also running against Dukakis at this point, so it's a different experiment together. I think Beta O'Rourke might be the closest thing, if you ask me. But I don't think Beta gets through.
No, it looks like the Dems are taking him out. I mean, you can see it. A lot of these attacks don't really strike me as Republican type of attacks. It's like Kamala Harris's people are doing things, calling him weak. Avenatti, who paid him to write that garbage?
Hmm.
Someone paid him. He's not doing anything for free. He has no money.
It's a fair point.
Doesn't Kamala have all the bread right now?
Well, the O'Rourke outraised Sanders. Maybe Harris is third as far as money.
So you think Beto, what's his real name? It's not his real name.
Robert
Isn't it like
O.
Seamus O'Rourke or something like that?
Seamus. That would be good, man. That would be an ultimate Irish name. I have a cousin named Seamus.
Seamus O'Rourke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's I don't know. I think the Democrats are going to be at each other's throats for the next 12 months.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it. Why not? We've been at each other's throats for a couple fucking years now.
I laugh that people are making vice president announcements now. That's a joke. You really think there'll be a coronation for Joe Biden like next month?
I don't know, but when you talk like that, it sounds like HOW 9000 talking.
Biden Abrams. Who's Abrams? Oh, the that
Uh,
fat chick.
no, 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 no. Michael Strahan's stand in. Yeah.
Thurno and Akbar 2020. That could be good.
Yeah. Maybe it's going to be Thurno Pozo. You never know.
Wouldn't surprise me.
No, with Chamber Pot as the Attorney General.
Yeah. Well, I think for me the only good news in all of this is by the time the reelection takes place, I don't think Jack Posobiec will be around in any meaningful way. His 15 minutes, I feel they're almost up.
Well, he's very happy to be retweeted by the president twice in one day.
Yes. I got two words for him. Diamond and silk. That's technically three, but
Well, Diamond and Silk definitely more valuable to the president than Jack. I think he would know that.
yeah, but in the life cycle, Diamond and Silk used to have 1,000 people in their periscopes. Now they got about 130, 200. Everything has a shelf life.
The
Like
key
our
is,
friend, that guy, that crazy, uh, what was that guy? The with his lip syncing show, the number one fan guy.
oh Jesus, Gene.
Yeah, the reason I mention it is I saw he's still doing his thing with no shirt on, with a leather jacket, doing an Elvis impression for 130 viewers
Wow.
total. Not in the room, 130 total views.
Oh, yikes! I mean, how many Bon Jovi songs can he put into a hair dryer?
So, anyway, I felt bad 2 years ago saying that guy's a nut and he makes us look bad.
But
Now
he's
I
a
don't
nut,
care. I
and
just
he
don't
makes
care.
us
I
look
feel
bad.
empowered now to just make the obvious point the emperor has no clothes, right? That guy's a fucking psycho
Fucking
and he's
Pasobic,
embarrassing.
Pasobic blocked rooftop.
He blocked me, he blocked Rooftop, he blocked
Yeah, but all rooftop did was say, that's a very shitty rendition of Night Moves.
Oh, you mean the nut job, not Pasobic. You're talking about Gene the dancing machine.
No, 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 no. Rooftop got blocked by Pasobic for criticizing his night moves acoustic version.
Well, I don't see why he's complaining. That means that he was only blocked fairly recently, right? I was blocked by that little shit last year during the 0 hour Ali Thurno. I mean, he blocked me because of my allegiance to you and MAGA coalition, which had just started. I think that's a good way to go, right?
He's
Fuck him.
yeah, he's never blocked me, and we don't communicate that much anymore. But honest to God, if I was doing periscopes that were maybe pulling in 100,000, I think I might have been godfather to his kid last
Maybe.
year. That's how much he cares about all this shit.
Well, unless he gets on a real news network, I don't see he has much future going anywhere. He's at that, your 30s and 40s are when you're supposed to be at the height of your powers.
Listen,
Working at OAN is like
yeah, I
you know,
mean when the spending bill went to pass, and it was all that uproar from and culture and everybody else. I remember I got this was 3 4 weeks ago maybe. I did that Periscope about you know watch out for the gaslighting and all that. I explained the whole process, and I got contacted by OAN, and they're like, "Can you come on and discuss this?" And my answer was, "No, thanks." I'm not. It's just not. I'm not. I don't have a problem with the network, but it just there was no upside to it. Really wasn't. I just didn't do it. So I'd much rather, if I have something to say, I'll do a Periscope, pin it on my profile for a little bit, put it over to my coalition, YouTube. But I'm not surprised at all that we might be hitting something that mainstream media is not hitting. That it doesn't make me beat my chest at all. I'm not really worried about enlightening people outside of my typical scope. I'm just not. So I guess that's where you draw the line with the other people. I just cannot stand self promotion. I will never be able to do it. Much to the detriment, I'm sure, of whatever it is we're trying to do. I can't do it. Sorry.
yeah. Well, I think he fell in with all of our enemies last year, and he used their block list. And since that time, I've thought he's dog shit.
We tried to
That's
come
how
back.
I. That's how I am. And when I saw him at our event, I almost flipped. I walked away. I
Well,
actually took a.
I invited him.
I know, and I was going to kick him out. That's how much I dislike this guy. But I walked away and I said, you know what?
I wouldn't have argued.
No, I know you wouldn't have, but I didn't want to create a scene. And I figured, you know what? Fuck it. He's here already. Like it or not, you should be a good host. And
Yeah, but
maybe
he
it's
was
some.
not allowed into anything, and he was stuck in a fucking hallway, situated in the point where he might get Palin on the way to our ballroom. That was it. The one guy I would not let anyone throw out was Dave Martowski
Uh,
from the Daily News. Um, He's a good guy. But we,
Well, I
we
was
did well.
impressed. I was impressed by our the media coverage. We had the New York Times there,
Yeah.
Washington Post, all the big guys, and we put them
Daily
up
Mail, I
front.
meant, not Daily News. Daily Mail. There was a Daily Mail.
UK Daily
Yeah.
Mail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we treated them nicely. We put them up front. We made sure if they needed to get plugged in for their laptops that they had that they had the Wi-Fi if needed, you know. And I think
Yeah.
you were
I even
telling.
brought a glass of wine to the New York Times reporter, who was a friend of our lawyers, by the way. So we knew we were going to be okay. But you know, whatever. We're better than a lot of our enemies. We're just smarter. We're more strategic. We don't get bogged down into unwinnable fights. That's why we're still here. And
They're not.
yeah. But I look at somebody like this Mike Closer, this Michael J. Gross, and I think, all right, you want to take shots at us, which historically is stupid, because I feel now compelled to enlighten his audience about who he is.
Well, he hasn't really changed his tune. It's the same thing for the last 2 years. Inexplicably, one show, he went from thinking I was the greatest guy ever because I humiliated that pig-faced crazy woman, Susan Knowles. And
Yes.
apparently, him and Susan Knowles used to be co-hosts on some
Yeah, she turned
unwatchable.
on him, I guess.
Yeah, and they had a very acrimonious split, a very public and acrimonious split. And when she came into one of my scopes and made a horse's ass of herself, he was like saying for weeks, "Ah, New York City guns, man, that's the way to do it. Yeah, baby, New York City guns." Like he thought I was the greatest thing ever, and so I would occasionally spot watch him just to see what this show was about, since he was saying such nice things about me. And
Yeah.
then one day he just starts out of the blue. By the way, it was around the time that the 0 Hour started attacking us for no reason. It felt
Imagine
completely
that.
artificial. He started attacking you in the same kind of insane, childish way. It's like, they're not, he's don't Gingrich. He's bad. The MAGA. We're real MAGA. I mean, Gingrich's not a good guy. It's not real MAGA. No, 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 not real MAGA. You shouldn't. We're not interested in that. We're not interested in that. It's not. It's bad. It's bad.
Listen,
It's
there's
yeah.
only two people, by the way, in this world that will say that I'm not a good guy. And that's my mom and my wife. And that doesn't matter, right?
Well, don't forget your dad,
No, no, he wouldn't even say that. He
brother.
would just shake his head in disgust. It's just my
Yeah.
mom and my wife. They would say I'm not good. So, everybody else, they're all aboard. They like me.
He's not good. I mean, he's bad. This is about MAGA. It's about MAGA. They're not MAGA. I mean, we know.
Let me ask you this, Glenn. Is it MAGA to have check fraud charges in 2 states?
uh, well, it's MAGA stupid. Him and Ali should get gay
Oh,
married. I'm
wait, whoa,
thinking.
whoa, whoa. If you're going to compare Ali, then now all of a sudden he's
Don't
looking
you
good.
think him and Ali could get gay married?
Yeah, it's not impossible.
Dun 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 dun. Right?
Yeah, a little. What? Was that Green Acres?
Yep.
Okay.
that's the kind of that's the kind of marriage it would be, right? You got like
Yeah.
the sort of the towny shit kicker, which is the best closer, and the urban scum, which is Ali. So you got one guy who's trying to make moonshine and sell it to toothless motherfuckers in his backyard, and the other guy is cruising the Mercedes Benzes, trying to break in the window to steal your car stereo to buy some sweet, sweet meth.
Either way,
Perfect.
I feel like I need to take a shower.
I was shocked when I saw those articles about him. His what is it? The mugshot photos.
Yeah, burglary into vehicles and credit card fraud and some type of prescription drug issue.
Well, I'm talking about the photos, his actual mugshots.
Oh, oh, yeah.
I was blown away. It never occurred to me he was a Milli Vanilli fan, but
yeah. It never occurred to you that Milli Vanilli could be an offspring of Sammy Davis Jr.?
See, the problem is when Milli Vanilli was a thing, I was already like 30 years old. To me, the only thing I knew about Milli Vanilli is they were fake, that they were involved in that scandal. I don't think I was listening to any of their music. I know I wasn't listening.
Don't make me say it.
Wasn't this song called "Girl, You Know It's True" or something like that?
Blame it on the rain.
Oh, that was it? I can't remember.
I think the other one might be "Girl, You Know It's True."
Okay, so I was, yeah. And when I saw the photo of Ali, I was thinking, oh, shit, he must have been into Milli Vanilli with that hairstyle he had. He was kind of like the underbite Milli Vanilli guy. Clearly, he was the Milli Vanilli guy that OD'd and died in the early 2000s.
I am not being racist at all here. I don't know what color he is. I don't care. I just expect Ali to break out into Mr. Bojangles. That's all.
Mr. Bojangles? That would
Every time Ali doesn't break out into Mr. Bojangles, I get disappointed.
He's kind of like a midget. He's like in every group they always have the midget guy with the big mouth.
Yeah.
Who kind of taunts the big guys on the other side with the huge guys behind him, like a little barking chihuahua.
Yeah.
That's what I see. But I mean, who are the heavy hitters that he's got? Cerno and Cerno. And then there's Cerno. Yeah. Looks to me like even Jack Posobiec, the last 6 months, he hasn't turned on Cernovich, but he's kind of trying to do his own thing. He's not trying to tie himself to Cerno anymore.
He'll do the retweets, but he wants to keep growing. I mean, Jack's going to be over 500,000 followers pretty soon.
Where is Cerno in all of this? What is his account?
I don't know where his account is, but I think physically he's in a Turkish bath.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
He's cute, though. That's important, I think,
to
mention.
Bangs. I'm thinking about growing the bangs out here.
Yeah, the bangs. He's looking cute. That's important. Looking cute is shampoo a hoax? Wasn't that what he was saying last year or 2 years ago?
Sardine oil.
That he stopped using shampoo. I had a friend in the 80s who lived downtown. He was Greek. And I think in every guy's life, you go through. Now, I didn't go through this, of course, but there's a lot of guys. They get this, like, everything is invented and brand new. Like, oh, if I don't put shampoo in my hair for like 4 days or 5 days, my hair looks like Elvis, man. It's like big and thick, and then by like week 2, it becomes like they're like roaches crawling around in there and like little rodents and shit. And all of the girls are like, man, that's nasty. You got to watch that shit. It's nasty, So he went through that. It was kind of funny. I'm seeing like a 35-year-old guy going through the same thing that a couple of guys I knew in the 80s when they were like 18, like discovered this magic thing. Like, oh, just don't use. Yeah, if you just don't use, because this shampoo. Shampoo. It strips the hair. It strips the follicles. The follicles are being stripped. So if you stop using it, and I'm using
Oh
sardine
yeah.
oil and Astroglide is really just brings out the fullness. It makes me look cute. Look how cute I am. Yeah, did you see that shit today? That his mom is a bipolar, has bipolar disorder.
No.
A big thread, man. Big thread in Cernoland. His mother is,
Wow.
has actual, I guess, that would be classified as mental problems, right? Not neurological. Would it be neurological? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, so I can't say. But she has a bipolar disorder, and he went public with that, which I thought, hey, since he's been transitioning into some kind of cute libertarian type of Oprah figure, it makes sense that he starts doing shows about, his uncle that's got like one testicle like him. And
Oh, so this is all hereditary. He's a psycho using steroids to the point where not having testicles anymore. Hey, who knew?
I still have some of those videos of him acting insane. Like it looked like he had done way too many steroids and he was sweating and doing those like faces. You remember that video? I still have all that shit.
Yeah, with the big O.
Right, where he's going like like he looks like he's about to stroke out after he did one too many line at like 4 a.m. in Vegas. He's just like, I need another bump ski. Like one of those moments. You're like, oh shit, throw him in the bathtub, get some ice, fill that bathtub with ice. You know, he's about to stroke out.
I mean, I will say this like with zero pride, but been around him three, maybe two, three times. He's a very reluctant, awkward person. He's a strange dude. But if you put him in his own room, stick his own phone on him, he turns into I don't know.
I think it's the green paint behind the green paint.
If,
Gives him
if
powers.
that is, maybe he's eating the chips off of it first and then doing it. I don't know. He's a weird dude.
Well, anyway, you know, Posobiec and Cerno, we now know they were doing their Rev 18, so they considered us competition. So
Yeah.
looking back on it, now we know why I got blocked, and so many of us were the enemy to these people because they just saw us as like gadflies that needed to be cleared away before they could go and raise $1 million. The irony being, they raised like $26,000 and then had to give it all back because the first lawyer they consulted with said, "Hey, you raised this completely improperly, and the FEC is going to put you in jail."
Oh, that's exactly what happened. But I
Oh, I
mean,
know it is. Yeah.
from here on out, like I still contend that you and I, or separately, we will happily engage any other aspects or entities that are raising money or working for Trump. Um, we don't have to do it in a we have to do it in a deliberative way, but we don't have to do it in an adversarial way. But I don't think that you or I or Ginger will ever back down from any type of discourse. And I think that's important. I think we need to make that known. If there's something, if you want to challenge us, or put yourself up on a higher pedestal than us, claim you're doing better or more for Trump, then you got to put your money where your mouth is. And I don't think we have to get any takers, Glenn. I really don't think we get any.
Well, I mean, their treasurer for Rev 18 did a Periscope after they shut it down It was a giant mea culpa type periscope. Um, and of course, I have it archived. I have it ready to go.
Who was it? Was it Gisa?
Nisi, whatever his name is.
Who?
You said his name. I never remember. It was
Jeff
like
Gisa.
Gisa. That
Yeah.
was who it was. Yeah. And, he was there with his gay lover in the background, hovering with the little adopted baby. I'm imagining that, but that's what I saw when I watched this guy.
It's
And he's
probable.
just sitting. He was just some creepy beta bearded fuck. And all I took away from it was, yeah, the takeaway from the Rev 18 was, you really should probably get a lawyer involved at the beginning before you start raising money. Yeah, that might be a good idea because, if you just start raising money uh, and you don't have the right things set up, then it's illegal. And I laughed. That was when we were during a time we were being attacked from all sides. And that was a year and a half ago. We're still here.
Yeah.
The MAGA coalition is in perfect shape. They may not like that we were paying Seb Gorka. They may not like that we were doing fundraisers in Florida and Gorka bought a suit or two. But they can kiss my ass. I mean, that's what it is to run a pack, that you have the talent who are always trying to, you know, like if you're asking me, do I believe Seb Gorka actually forgot to bring his suits, being that I used the same trick at IBM? Okay, I could believe it. I'm not going to sit here and accuse him of trying to defraud us. All I'm going to say is, look, I wasn't even a celebrity. I was just some nameless business suit dude running projects that nobody knew existed. And I did
Yeah.
that shit from time to time. And that is how the game is played. But $500 for two suits is not the end of the world on
Nah.
almost a $300,000 spend. It's really not the end of the world. Plus, um, everything was disclosed. We didn't try to hide anything. The only reason
It's
our
not as if
enemies
we
had,
had a fucking choice either.
sure we did. We could lie. You don't think that half of those things on the FEC website, they're not bullshitting a little bit here, bullshitting a little bit there,
Dude,
rather than say it's like for
I know that.
clothing.
I've been doing
We could
this.
have we could
I've
be
been doing
like
this
all the
for
rest of
fucking
these guys.
25 fucking years on one pack level or another, and you know damn well we don't do it. We don't lie.
No, because I'm not going to go to prison for you. I've told you that.
It's not prison. It's a fucking fine, but either way, it doesn't
Well,
matter.
let's see. If I was fined by the FEC, effectively, I would never work again in my field.
I would.
That would be the end of my career
I
forever,
wouldn't either.
right? How would I ever get a government clearance again if I have that shit hanging over me? Fuck that. It'd be over,
Neither.
right? Yeah, you'd be done. I'd be done. Ginger McQueen, she may be a little loose with the
No,
purse
Ginger.
strings,
Ginger will. Yeah, she's fine.
if you know what I mean. But
I think that's what drives people really crazy. Is like, doesn't matter what happens. Ginger's gonna end up famous. The rest of us are gonna be asterisks.
that's fine. I just hope that when she becomes famous, that she will hire me to do
I
just
doubt it. I don't think she's gonna go slumming it. I really don't.
menial fucking status. Like I'll drive her around. I'll be like her bodyguard driver. I'll be happy to do it for some paltry amount of money, just so I could like leech onto her fame. You know.
Well, I know that she's probably sleeping, but it doesn't matter. I know you know your shit. I know my shit. Ginger probably combines all of it that we know and then brings the intangibles to it where we're kind of like not relevant anymore. I mean, she could take over everything.
I hate to break this to you, Gingo. We were never relevant, man.
No, that's true.
For
That's
a
true.
while, for like 4 or 5 weeks after the election, it
Yeah, I might have
appeared.
been relevant. I might have been relevant for like a couple like recount and like faithless elector bullshit. But you're right. After that, not much.
Hermo and Gingo are like the
Yeah, Herbo and Herbo and Gingo.
if there was like a big rock concert like the Who was playing in like 1982,
Yeah.
then they'd have like two opening, sometimes three opening acts. And the first one of the three opening acts is always like one or two dudes like Simon and Garfunkel, and one of them has a guitar, an acoustic guitar. Why? Because there's just no way that you can get all the roadies to clear away three bands worth of shit. It's just not going to happen. So we would be that first of three opening acts. The second one would have like maybe like we were talking about the Cream, a drummer, a bass, and a guitarist, and one of them would be singing, easy to pull away, and then the real opening act will be a full thing with keyboards and two guitarists and a bass player and a drummer and a lead singer, and then you wait 30, 40 minutes for the Who to come on
Yeah.
as things are moving behind a curtain. Things are moving, you don't know what's happening back there, but things are moving around. Sometimes the curtains blow open a little bit, and you see like some dude about to get a hernia, some fat 400-pound guy
Oh, I get
about to
that.
get a
I
hernia.
get that. I guess my point is Ginger would be some weird conglomeration of like Sylvia Plath and what was the chick from what was the chick who sang the best songs off of who sang Vacation off the yeah, what was her name?
Oh, you mean from the Go Go's?
Yeah, she was
Yeah. What
incredibly
the
hot.
fuck was the fat one who became a coke slut?
She became
Brenda
a fat one,
Carlisle.
yeah, but she wasn't an
Brenda
old.
Carlisle.
Yeah, Belinda Carlisle. Yeah,
Belinda.
that would be Ginger's role in the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Ginger with the makeup is like that chick in Star 80. And without the makeup, I assume she would be more like Mommy Dearest, right? With the wire hangers,
No, I don't think
screaming.
there's any difference anymore. Like, I think Ginger's gone like straight up RoboCop with it. I think her makeup is on in the morning and it's just on at
Well,
night.
yeah, she's tattooing it now, so
Yeah,
that's a big plus. Mommy Dearest 24/7, Ginger McQueen. There it is.
yeah. She's like just decided, I'm gonna be perpetually beautiful. I don't want to like have these intermittent periods of not being beautiful. Uh, I
Next
should
time
probably
she
look into
does,
that.
next time she does Vandersteel, you have to scream, "No more wire hangers." I'm thinking. I think that would be awesome.
Nah, that's a sick joke that only 30% of our audience will get.
Are you kidding? Our audience are all like 60 and 70 years
Are you
old.
saying we have a boomer audience? God damn it!
No, we're beyond boomer. We've got like geriatric hooked up to the EKG with two or three hospice nurses.
We're big in the hospice zone. We're big in the.
That was our main problem, is that most of our audience 2 years ago were 80 years old and half of the audience died. So that's we've been we've been unable to attract an audience that's like under 70 years old. And that's cuz we're lame.
No, no, that's not true. That's not
Well,
true.
okay, at least Sarah is only 45, and then let's see. Uh Sirius Cat is a Gen Xer, which so am I.
Well, first off,
But Rooftop Jimmy is here. He's like 70 years old, right? And you
we
know,
lost a third of our over 70 male crowd on one agent eight or 80885 episode. So, I don't want to make Ginger feel bad or anything, but that contributed to the loss of human life.
It's true. When she pulled out those bad boys for the camera, I think half of our geriatric audience had a coronary right there.
Yeah, right there. Or if not, their blue pills kicked in.
And then my attempt at political dialogue for the next 6 years finished off the other half.
That is true.
But we picked up some new guys when I started doing my Mill Bitchell impression
No,
with
you
the
weren't
wig.
doing Mitchell as so much as you were doing Himmler, but whatever.
People like that. Your Ass America. I think Your Ass America would be a better show than the actual Your Ass America. I'd like to get some of the same guests that Mill Bitchell has and do it as a Your Ass America thing. Like, do it straight. Like it's a real show.
Oh, you mean straight, like not like Bill, but straight?
No, definitely not like Bill. No, no,
Okay,
no.
that's not straight.
No, hell no. No, being straight doesn't mean having sex with a woman and thinking about having sex with a guy. That, by its very nature, means you're not straight. You know?
Accurate.
Yeah. Yep. I love Mill Bitchell. They're nobodies, so I can get his guests. I know. But who are his guests now? Like Border Patrol Mike and I don't know, some weird guy from the Patriot
We can
soapbox
get
who looks.
Joey Mantorino.
Man, listen, dude, Mantorino, I'm saying it right here, right now.
We can make him famous.
If we invited Mantorino, I'd say there's an 80% chance he'd come on, even though, we're
Ginger
the
can do that.
enemies.
Ginger can
Definitely.
do it.
Ginger, get on that. Contact hair system.
Ginger is the Mantorino whisperer.
She is. I think Ginger McQueen is his can we use that phrase? The word that rhymes with bag, the bag hag. Like in every gay guy's world, there's some chick that he thinks is like Marilyn Monroe.
That's right.
The one chick that when she leaves the table to go to the bathroom, he doesn't turn to the other gay guys and go, fish, right? The one that they actually like. So
Well,
Ginger,
not that there's anything wrong with that.
well, I mean, if you're into that kind of thing. By the way, the gay publication you couldn't remember yesterday or on Saturday was The Advocate.
Advocate.
Yeah. I said Interview Magazine, which was Andy Warhol's
Well,
magazine,
I
which was,
thought it
by
was
the
the
way, it was pretty
Village
gay.
Voice.
Village Voice was a newspaper, though. That's the thing.
Uh,
And that was more commie rather than gay. Advocate was pure gay, 100% gay.
I always mix up my gay shit. I don't know why.
Yeah. Because you never read any of that stuff. That's why.
I never sucked any of that stuff.
And you never lived in a place where every time you went to buy a newspaper, you had that shit hanging up in the little kiosk.
No.
So you didn't even have the opportunity to see it. These were like rumors, like, whatever college you went to, there may have been a few New York guys who were like, yeah, the Advocate, you don't want to read that.
It wasn't at Penn State, and it wasn't at Bloomsburg, and it wasn't at LBC. That's all I know.
See, so you were lucky.
Maybe. Maybe I was missing out. Who knows?
I don't think you missed much, but full-on Liberace. That's what we're talking about. Joey Mantorino, holy shit. Now that would be the get of all time.
I think that's our action item from tonight's scope. Besides the fact that Michael Jonathan Gross is a criminal, and please Google it. The best closer is actually a check fraud jockey who should be tarred and feathered and run out of town. Secondarily to that, I think is we need to get a Joey Mantorino special, very special. It should be a YouTube. I think you, me, and Ginger should do that with him.
He should know going into it that it's going to be Your Ass America. with Joey Mantorino. It'll be his big shot, All he has to do is be himself and let the circus go on. And he can just react to it. You want the Hal show too. Okay, Ginger, why don't we do a Hal show?
Well,
You
okay.
pick the day this week. You
So
pick the day.
Ginger and I will have him on, and you'll be Hal. And Ginger and I will walk him through the video on YouTube with his hair replacement, and you'll ask
Yes.
Hal like questions.
Right.
Yeah.
Joey, you've got to tell me. Is the glue, is it viscous? Or is it mortar-like? You've got to tell me.
Joseph, I must advise you. Don't wear it anymore.
Mantorino,
Take it off.
I have the utmost confidence in this mission. Mantorino. He's got to be getting kind of like nervous now, right? Doesn't it seem like Bill is just about ready to get rid of all of them?
I think he already kind of did. He's like it seems like Bill is like on an a la carte thing these days. I don't know. Let's see.
I think you're right. Oh, he's gone? Hey, Ginger, do you think that's why he started to Periscope again? He lost his Twitter account for the millionth time, and he started Periscoping.
And his sweet Honda Accord or whatever it is, yeah.
All of them are gone? So who's left, Ginger? What's left of the Your Ass America brand?
Is our ass empty?
Well, if it's Bill, it's never empty. His ass is always half full, never half empty. No one other than Bill, as far as I can tell. Yeah. So, isn't that funny? A year and a half ago, I predicted to him that he would have to pare everything back from his insane belief system. And here we are. He's back in his late mother's house.
He is.
He has. I saw that lady he has, the older blonde lady. Maybe that's his girlfriend now,
No.
No.
I heard his sister has stepped up to fill a role in his life on the home front.
What, like his mom taking over, cooking him dinner?
At least.
Yeah. Is she whipping up that pancake batter in the morning for him?
Whipping up something. I don't know if it's pancake batter. I know it's batter.
Batter. Bisquick, baby.
Yeah. Bill doesn't like to eat it. He likes to have it on his chin.
Right. That's like one of the games that his nephews and nieces play with him. They take the spoon and flick the Bisquick batter on his face, and he moans. He lays on the ground moaning.
Wow. Even 5:30 a.m. people are disturbed by this shit.
Hey, that's my job. I take my job.
We're gonna sign off with a little tune here. Are we gonna be back on tomorrow?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it tomorrow at a normal time, like around 9 or 10.
Okay. Can we do all from your end at least? Can we do strictly Hal 9000?
Yeah, I can do Hal for an hour or so.
All right, let's do it.
Maybe we'll do. If you want to do it, we could even do it with Zoom, and I can put like a space background up there. Or we could do it this way so other people can call in. I think that's probably more fun.
Well, if people get to ask Hal 9000 questions, they're going to want to do it,
Yeah, no, that's true. So what are we listening to? What's the next big hit here? We Will Mock You?
No, that was a good tune though. I think that worked out pretty well. You had great video there. I think people missed my scope or my comments in the scope when I said that Amy is now surf and turf. Did you catch that one?
I did.
Thank you.
That was her beefsteak Charlie's moment.
Uh,
That's a little bit too old. There is no more beefsteak Charlie's. I guess now it would be like what, Applebee's? The Applebee's moment for her? Or the Yeah, of course. And having her falling over and over again, no one can mistake my mean spiritedness. So
I don't think anyone's ever done that. But
oh, I don't know. I mean Ginger McQueen, uh, who by the way is gonna get whistleblower status, once
I know what
commented
you mean.
that I'm actually a teddy bear. So, you know.
Well, this is our outgoing message to all of the scam artists, but particularly for you, Mike J. Closer, Gross. You really want to fuck with us? This is how we play. This is how we go out. Thanks, Glenn.
I'll see you later, man.